Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into the world of Ibn Rushd today.
Oh, this is a fascinating one.
It is, and I know a lot of you out there are really interested in his Incoherence of the Incoherence.
Now, that title alone,
Yeah.
it just grabs you, doesn't it?
It really sets the stage.
Yeah.
We're going back to 12th century Al-Andalus, which, when you think about it,
Yeah.
in some ways,
Yeah.
not so different from our world today.
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
That vibrant mix of cultures and ideas, you can practically feel the energy of the debates that were happening,
Yeah. Philosophy and theology.
constantly bumping up against each other.
Right, exactly.
It's a period that just mirrors our own time in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's marked by this just intense debate
Yeah.
about the role of reason in faith.
And that debate.
It was sparked by
Yeah.
a figure we can't ignore, Al-Ghazali,
Right.
and his, shall we say, provocative work,
Provocative is a good word for it.
The Incoherence of the Philosophers.
That's right.
It was essentially an intellectual takedown
Yeah.
of some of the greatest minds of that time, thinkers like Avicenna. And it really did send shockwaves through the intellectual world.
Yeah, so here's Al-Ghazali claiming that these philosophers are leading people astray with their logic and their reason.
Right.
What were his main points of contention?
Well, he argued that philosophers, in their quest to understand the universe and God, they were overstepping their boundaries. He took issue with some specific philosophical concepts, like the eternity of the world, for example,
Okay.
which he saw as directly contradicting the Islamic belief in creation.
So that's a big one right there.
It is.
Yeah.
He also rejected the philosopher's stance on bodily resurrection
Oh, interesting.
and argued that over-reliance on reason could lead to heresy.
So essentially, some areas were better left.
The revelation
Okay.
and theological interpretation.
Sounds like he was deeply concerned
Oh, he was.
about the implications of these philosophical ideas for traditional Islamic thought.
Precisely. He felt that relying solely on reason could lead people down a dangerous path away from the revealed truths of Islam.
And then Ibn Rushd.
Ibn Rushd.
enters the picture.
He steps onto the stage. This is where things get really interesting.
With his
Unique background.
yeah, law, medicine.
And, of course, philosophy.
Right.
He steps up to defend not just the philosophers themselves, but the very act of rational inquiry
Yeah.
itself.
The whole idea
Yeah.
of thinking and questioning.
Exactly.
I have to say, when I first read The Incoherence of the Incoherence,
Yeah.
I was really struck
Yeah.
by the force of Ibn Rushd's arguments.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, he systematically dismantles Al-Ghazali's critiques.
Point by point. It's a masterful rebuttal.
Yeah, he doesn't see philosophy and religion as enemies.
Not at all. In fact, he viewed them as complementary paths to the same ultimate truth. He even argued that the Quran itself encourages the use of reason, suggesting it's a divine gift, meant to be used to explore the world and deepen our understanding of God.
So no conflict between faith and reason.
No, for Ibn Rushd, they could coexist, even strengthen each other.
And true.
However it's discovered,
Right.
ultimately harmonizes.
It all comes together.
Yes.
Now, I think our listeners would be fascinated to hear about some of the specific arguments.
Oh, absolutely. Let's dive into some of the highlights.
Yeah, let's do that.
One of the most intriguing parts of his work is his defense of metaphysics.
Okay, so the nature of reality itself.
Right. Now, Al-Ghazali saw this as dangerous territory,
Okay.
a realm where human reason could easily lead to error
Mm-hmm.
and heresy.
So he's advocating a limited role for reason.
Exactly. Especially when exploring those mysteries of existence.
Right.
But Ibn Rushd saw it differently.
Okay.
He argued that understanding the nature of existence
Yeah.
was not only possible, but essential
Okay.
to appreciate the majesty and wonder of God's creation.
So not a threat.
No,
But a tool for greater understanding.
to elevate and enrich our understanding of the divine,
That's a really interesting point.
isn't it?
Yeah, that true faith is not about blind acceptance,
No.
but about seeking a deeper understanding.
Exactly. The more we understand about the universe and the workings of creation, the more we appreciate the power and wisdom of the Creator.
So using our reason to delve into the mysteries.
Yes, not shying away from them.
Okay, so another point of contention
Yeah.
was the concept of causality.
Right.
Al-Ghazali, with his occasionalism, argued that everything that happens is a direct result of God's will,
Yes.
with no room for natural laws
Right.
or cause and effect.
This is where Ibn Rushd's Aristotelian influences really shine.
Okay.
He argued that while God is the ultimate cause of everything, natural laws are a part of God's creation too.
So they're not separate from God's will.
Exactly.
Okay.
They represent the way in which God's will is manifested in the world.
The order and structure.
Woven into creation.
So understanding natural laws is a way to understand
The blueprint of God's creation.
The beauty and the harmony of the universe.
Precisely.
So it's almost like a form of worship.
You could say that.
Yeah.
A way to connect with the divine.
To understand his creation.
Through understanding his creation. Exactly.
Then we come to maybe the most controversial, perhaps, point of contention between the two, the eternity of the world.
Yes. This one really gets to the heart of the matter.
Yeah.
Al-Ghazali viewed this idea of the world existing eternally as a direct challenge to the Islamic concept of creation.
Of course. Yeah.
A very sensitive topic.
Extremely.
It touches upon the fundamental relationship between God and the universe.
Right.
But Ibn Rushd, he draws on Aristotelian philosophy to navigate this.
Yeah.
He argues that the eternity of the world wasn't meant to deny God's role as creator, but to understand the framework of creation from a philosophical perspective.
So how could he reconcile that?
Well, he argued it was a way to think about how an eternal God interacts with time and existence. He saw it not as a contradiction to creation, but as a way to explore the profound mystery of God's relationship with his creation.
Pushing the boundaries.
Oh, absolutely.
Of theological thought.
He was a pioneer, trying to find a way
to
reconcile these seemingly contradictory ideas.
Using philosophy.
To help.
Exactly. And that's what makes his work so captivating even today.
It really is.
He wasn't afraid to tackle the tough questions. He challenged conventional wisdom and explored new ways of understanding the relationship between faith and reason.
That's right.
It's just fascinating how he navigated all these theological issues and really found himself at the heart of a debate that extended far beyond Al-Andalus.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier how his ideas spread to Europe. I mean, given the resistance he faced.
Oh, yeah. I imagine that journey across cultures.
It's quite a story.
Must have been interesting.
It really highlights how ideas can transcend boundaries.
Yeah.
Geographical, religious, you name it. His works were originally written in Arabic.
Of course.
And they were translated into Hebrew and Latin.
Wow.
Making their way into European intellectual circles.
So how was he received by European scholars?
Well, interestingly enough, much warmer than in parts of the Islamic world.
Interesting.
You have to remember, at this time, Europe was experiencing its own intellectual awakening.
Okay.
Rediscovering classical Greek thought.
Right.
Which had been largely lost during the Middle Ages.
So almost like his work arrived at the perfect time.
It did,
Yeah.
to fill a void.
Interesting.
Ibn Rushd's commentaries on Aristotle, coupled with his own arguments, really helped reintroduce Aristotelian philosophy into European thought.
So not just a commentator, but also a bridge.
A bridge between worlds.
Yeah.
The classical world and the burgeoning European Renaissance.
That's amazing.
His emphasis on reason and logic really resonated with that humanist spirit of the Renaissance.
Right. Human potential. Power of the mind.
Exactly.
To understand the world.
To explore and understand the world. Precisely.
It's just amazing to think how one scholar from 12th century Al-Andalus could have such a profound impact on the trajectory of European thought.
It speaks to the enduring power of ideas.
Doesn't it?
And the interconnectedness of intellectual history.
It really does.
I can't underestimate it.
But given, that resistance he faced back home, how did his ideas fare within the Islamic world? In the centuries that follow.
His legacy within the Islamic world is a bit more complex and nuanced. Some viewed him with suspicion, seeing his philosophical inquiries as a threat to traditional Islamic thought.
Interesting.
But others recognized the value of his attempts to reconcile faith and reason.
So a mixed reception.
Yeah, you could say that.
But his work clearly sparked a debate.
Oh, it did.
Continues to this day.
A debate that's perhaps even more relevant today.
How so?
As Muslim scholars and intellectuals grapple with the challenges of modernity and this ongoing dialogue between faith and reason.
Especially in a rapidly changing world.
Especially in a rapidly changing world. Exactly.
It makes you wonder.
It does.
What would Ibn Rushd make of our world today?
What incoherences would he be trying to untangle?
Right, exactly.
Given his commitment to dialogue and his belief in the power of reason, I think he would be urging us to bridge those divides that separate us, whether those divisions are based on ideology, religion, culture.
It's interesting.
He was all about building bridges.
He was advocating for respectful discourse,
Yes,
encouraging people to engage with different viewpoints.
Even, or perhaps especially, when those viewpoints challenge their own beliefs.
Yeah, to really listen.
To truly listen and understand.
And try to understand.
To try to understand. He'd be fascinated by the speed at which information travels today.
Oh, absolutely.
And the challenge of discerning truth.
Right.
In a world saturated with opinions.
There's so much information.
And conflicting narratives.
He'd probably be reminding us that critical thinking is more important than ever.
More crucial than ever. In this age of information overload, we have to be discerning consumers of knowledge.
Yeah, not just passively absorbing information, but actively engaging with it.
Yes. Questioning assumptions.
Thinking critically.
Seeking deeper understanding. It's about becoming active participants in the search for truth.
Yes.
Not passive recipients of whatever comes our way.
I think he'd also be reminding us about humility.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Acknowledging that we don't have all the answers. There's always more to learn.
Right.
And that being open to different perspectives is essential for growth.
Understanding.
And understanding. Exactly. Yeah. Our own understanding is always evolving.
It is.
We should be willing to revise our views in light of new evidence or insights.
Yeah.
Ibn Rushd's own intellectual journey was one of constant exploration and reevaluation. He engaged deeply with the works of those who came before him, critically analyzing their arguments and building upon their insights.
And he didn't shy away from challenging the status quo.
Oh, no, not at all.
Even when it meant risking his own reputation.
Or position.
Yeah, a real trailblazer.
He was a true intellectual trailblazer. And his example reminds us that the pursuit of knowledge often requires courage. The courage to ask difficult questions.
Yeah.
Challenge conventional wisdom. Stand up for what we believe is true.
Even when it's unpopular.
Even when it's unpopular.
Precisely.
It's interesting to think about how his work was shaped.
It is.
By the time he was living in, Al-Andalus.
Yes.
In the 12th century.
A place of great intellectual vibrancy.
But also political and social upheaval.
How did that influence his work?
That's a great question. Al-Andalus was experiencing internal divisions, facing external threats. And this backdrop of uncertainty and change undoubtedly influenced his worldview.
So he was looking for a way to bridge divides.
You could say that.
Yeah.
Some scholars argue that his emphasis on reason, unity, and the pursuit of truth was, in part, a response to the challenges of his time.
To create a more harmonious society.
Using the power of ideas.
Yeah, powerful ideas.
It's certainly possible. His work can be seen as a call for intellectual and social renewal. An attempt to find common ground. Amidst the fragmentation and conflict.
Isn't that relevant today?
Oh, absolutely. More than ever, perhaps.
It's like we're facing our own set of challenges. Polarization.
Polarization, social unrest. Global conflicts.
Like the world needs more Ibn Rushdites.
I think you're right. His message of tolerance, critical thinking, and the pursuit of truth. It's as timely and necessary as ever.
It really is.
He reminds us that we don't have to agree on everything to have meaningful conversations. Seek common ground and work towards building a better future.
His life and work demonstrate that engagement, even with those who hold different views, is essential for progress.
Absolutely. Silencing dissenting voices, retreating into echo chambers. That only exacerbates division.
Of course.
And hinders our ability to find solutions.
We need to be able to talk to each other.
We do.
Even when it's hard.
Especially when it's hard. It's a reminder that true progress requires open minds, a willingness to listen, and the courage to engage in respectful dialogue.
Even when it's difficult.
And perhaps especially when it's difficult. You know, as we've been talking about his legacy and his emphasis on dialogue. They keep coming back to how his ideas could help us navigate our modern world.
Yeah, it's a different world.
It is a different world.
But some things remain the same.
They do. We're still grappling with those same fundamental questions about truth and knowledge.
Right, and how to find it.
How to find it in a world that's saturated with information.
It's overwhelming sometimes.
It can be.
All that information.
And so much of it unvetted.
Right, or even intentionally misleading.
Exactly.
Makes it hard to separate truth from falsehood.
It really does.
And it just fuels polarization instead of constructive dialogue.
And I think that's where Ibn Rushd's message is just so timely.
Yeah, how so?
He reminds us that knowledge, true knowledge, is not about passively absorbing information.
Okay.
It's about actively engaging with it.
Right.
Questioning assumptions and seeking deeper understanding.
It's about thinking critically.
Exactly. Critical thinking is not just a skill.
Right.
It's a responsibility.
Especially in a world where misinformation can have such an impact.
Absolutely. He'd be urging us to be discerning consumers of information.
Yeah, to really evaluate what we're seeing and hearing.
To develop those critical thinking muscles.
Oh, straight.
So that we can evaluate sources, identify biases, form our own informed opinions.
Informed opinions, yes.
That's crucial.
Absolutely.
For navigating this complex world of information.
It's about becoming informed citizens, capable of making informed decisions.
And engaging in constructive dialogue.
Right, exactly.
Not just accepting things blindly.
No, but thinking for ourselves.
And I think he'd also remind us about humility.
Humility, okay.
To acknowledge that we don't have all the answers.
Right.
There's always more to learn. And to be open to different perspectives.
Because that's how we grow.
That's how we grow.
And how we understand.
And how we understand. Our own understanding is always evolving.
It is, yeah.
And we should be willing to revise our views when necessary.
In light of new evidence.
Yes, in light of new evidence and new insights. Ibn Rushd's own intellectual journey was one of constant exploration. Reevaluation.
He was always pushing the boundaries.
He was. He engaged deeply with the works of those who came before him.
Yeah.
But he wasn't afraid to question them, to critically analyze their arguments and build upon their insights.
And he challenged the status quo.
He did, even when it was risky.
Even when it was unpopular.
A true intellectual trailblazer.
He was.
So what can our listeners do?
Yeah, what can they do?
To cultivate that same kind of intellectual curiosity and critical thinking.
That Ibn Rushd championed.
That he championed.
What would he say?
First and foremost.
Okay.
Be curious.
Be curious.
Seek out diverse perspectives.
Okay.
Read widely.
Yeah.
Engage in thoughtful conversations.
Right, with people who hold different views.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Even challenging ones.
Even challenging ones.
Right.
Even if they seem naive.
It's about being open.
Open to learning from anyone, anywhere.
No matter their background.
No matter their background.
Or their beliefs.
Exactly. And when you come across information, especially online.
Oh, especially online.
Don't take it at face value.
Right. Question it.
Question the source. Consider the author's biases.
Yeah.
Look for evidence to support the claims.
That's so important.
It is.
To be able to do that.
Those critical thinking skills are absolutely crucial.
They are.
For navigating our information-saturated world.
Becoming informed citizens.
Yes.
Capable of engaging in that constructive dialogue and making those informed decisions.
And remember, the pursuit of knowledge isn't a solitary endeavor.
Right. It's about engaging with others.
It is. Share your insights. Be open to learning from their experiences.
Create a culture of learning and inquiry.
Where we can all grow together.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
Ultimately, I think Ibn Rushd would want us to remember that knowledge is not just about acquiring facts, but about using it to make the world a better place.
Translating knowledge into action.
Right. Using our insights to promote justice,
understanding,
compassion
in our communities and beyond.
So as you continue to explore his ideas, I hope you'll reflect on how his legacy can inspire you.
Yeah.
To be a force for positive change.
Right. To make a difference in the world.
What incoherences can you help to untangle?
That's a good question.
What bridges can you build?
What conversations can you start?
These are the questions his life and work invite us to ponder.
And as we do that,
as we grapple with those questions, we keep his legacy alive.
We do.
Not just as a figure from the past,
right,
but as a source of inspiration.
For the present.
For the present.
And for the future.
And for the future. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive
into the world of Ibn Rushd.
We hope you've gained a deeper appreciation for his remarkable life,
his enduring ideas,
and the relevance of his message for our time.
Yes. The pursuit of knowledge is a lifelong journey.
Keep exploring.
Keep questioning.
And keep the conversation going.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
See you next time.